Arrived. Attention, a new important message has arrived.
Right when I'm getting ready to do this video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're at. I want to thank you for checking out the Cali Truck Stop Theater. This is another episode, and I'm coming to you. I want to do this like real quick. I got a load that I'm going to pick up now, but I had some interesting things happen to me last night, and I wanted to discuss that. So I took some supplement, or a supplement, last night because I wanted to try it out, just because I was curious about it, and I had some interesting things happen while I was sleeping. And before I tell you what it is that I took, I'll kind of give you the background why I took it. But anyways, it's what time is it? It's about 9:45 this morning, and I got the windows all blocked up, and I got just enough light coming through so that I'm not too bright, because the sun is beaming like directly right in front of me. So I had to make some lighting adjustments to get this video to where it's halfway decent. Okay, so the supplement that I took, why did I take it? Well, like I said, I was curious, because there was some reasoning behind the reason why that I took it, and I wanted to see if it make any differences or any changes in me. But so the reason why I took it was because I wanted to find out if it would help correct some of the things that I think I might be experiencing with certain deficiencies, like vitamin deficiencies, right? And the two things that I was looking at was zinc and magnesium. I had done some internet, some quick internet research on zinc and magnesium, for quite a long period of time, right? But here just recently, I started, looking at it again, and I found this product, and it specifically was marketed towards zinc. It's a supplement that's zinc and magnesium, together. Also B6, a B6 vitamin. And I want to give you just a quick run through of some of the possible things that that could be an issue with if you have a deficiency in these particular minerals. So vitamins and minerals. So now I'm gonna tell you right up front, if you think that you have any of these problems or anything else, talk to your doctor and see what they think. Get your advice from your doctors, and let them try to diagnose your issue. If you're not satisfied with what they tell you, then maybe you might want to try experiment and stuff. But I would first and foremost go to your doctor, check and see if there's if you have these problems, or if you think you have these problems, discuss it with your doctor, and talk with your doctor and see about a solution for this. So with zinc deficiency, what I found is that With zinc deficiency, the way you can figure, or some of the more common causes of the reason why that you have a zinc deficiency could be because of a weak immune system, loss of appetite, stunted growth, that's usually for children, hair loss, autoimmune disease such as colitis or rheumatoid arthritis, Wilson's disease, neural diseases, neural disorders, artery disease, diabetes, hearing loss, acne, allergies. I seem to suffer from certain allergies, or from I don't know. Well, it's sinusitis is what I pretty much suffer from, and I think it comes from an allergic reaction to I don't know, something, whatever it is that I'm in contact with. I have narrowed it down to where it's being from indoors. I normally have problems with the sinuses being clogged and stuff like that, and I find it sometimes or more oftentimes I find it difficult to breathe when I'm inside buildings versus being outside, outdoors. But anyway, so you could be suffering from certain allergies. And now the reason why I mentioned allergies is because it did some of the things that I looked at did mention about sinusitis and things like that it could be a deficiency in zinc, because zinc does it does things to help regulate the fluids that can get built up in your sinuses. Vision loss, vision, smell, and taste. Have problems with that, like you lose your vision, your taste, your smells. Wounds that don't heal, diarrhea, poor neurological function, loss of sleep, rashes, nausea. This is something that I wasn't aware of, but it could help in testosterone production. It might be you might have certain psychological disorders might be a sign of zinc deficiency. Mood disorders, like irritability and lethargy, depression. Those may be signs that you're having zinc deficiency issues. So, like I said, talk with your doctor about it. See what they think about it. They're more knowledgeable. They have more expertise, and don't want you going crazy trying stuff that you shouldn't be trying when when it could be something else. Magnesium deficiencies. That comes from, you could have, if you have problems with muscle cramps or abnormal heart rhythms, your nervous system sometimes, like things like tremors. If you use a lot of alcohol, if you've got burns, like large burns, I guess you can become magnesium deficient, because I guess the magnesium is I guess helps with the healing of the skin, the skin burns and stuff like that. I guess chronic diarrhea. That's kind of weird, because magnesium. Well, if you take magnesium in excess, it can cause diarrhea. But it says here that if you got chronic diarrhea, it could be because you could be deficient in magnesium. Excessive urination, such as like uncontrolled diabetes. What is it? Aldosteronism. I don't know. I probably didn't say it right. But that's if aldosterone hormone or whatever. I can't pronounce it all that well, but it's a hormone that that gets released in the bloodstream in excess, excessive is an excess of this type of hormone in your bloodstream, which could be a sign of magnesium deficiency. Kidney tubule disorders, malabsorption like celiac or inflammatory diseases, malnutrition, where you're not getting. It's starting to get a little darker here. Ain't it? All of a sudden, the sun decides to hide behind the clouds, so it's starting to get dark in here. Let's see. Come on, there we go. All right, that's a little better. Okay, so some more things with magnesium deficiency, malnutrition, where your foods that you're eating are getting during the digestion process, the nutrients in your body is not properly getting filtered into your system. If you take medicines, now I can't pronounce some of these things, but amphotericin, something like that. Cisplatin, cyclosporin, diuretics, protein pump inhibitors, aminoglyceride antibiotics. Those type of medicines. I don't know what they are, but like diuretics, I understand is somewhat. Diuretics are some of the things that cause you to urinate a lot. But also excessive sweating could be a sign of magnesium deficiency. Now B6 deficiency. So what I found out from this is that it's usually common with people that have low concentrations of the B complex vitamins. Also could be associated with microcytia anemia. I don't know if I said it right. But dermatitis, which is like scaling of the skin. Like me, I'm gonna be getting checked out for that with my doctor. But I seem to have like the scaliness in the hair here. But yeah, that, and also like if you got scaling around the on the lips and cracks around the lips and things like that, that could be a B6 deficiency. Swollen tongue, depression or confusion, weak immune system function, end-stage renal disease or chronic renal problems, autoimmune disorders, alcohol dependence. So there again, if you drink a lot of alcohol in excess, the alcohol, some of the effects of the alcohol means that it depletes your body of certain vitamins and minerals. Cardiovascular disease, being deficient in B6 could be a sign of certain cardiovascular diseases, or you could be more at risk of developing certain cardiovascular problems. Increased risk of cancer. You have an increased risk of certain cancers, I guess, and cognitive function. So cognitive function, has sometimes it's more more of like a mind type of thing. But those are just some of the things that I have found out. I went to Google and I went to some of these medical sites that explain some of the deficiencies that a person could have, or some signs that a person could have in being deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. So that was that was the reason behind, buying it. I was just like, curious. Okay, well, I some of these issues, I think that I have, and I wanted to see, what it would change, or if it would help anything, So now I took this product, and I did I did kind of like look at I did a couple of reviews on it, and it also mentioned about these type of deficiencies, or what why it's good and to have, and things like that. But the one thing that well, a couple things. I keep starting over my words here, but so there's some of the things that people have been saying was that it does help you get a more restful sleep, where you're not tired after sleeping, This one person said that it's like they notice that after they've had it for a while, that they get a restful sleep, but it's like, let's say that they slept for like 5 hours, they felt like they had maybe 6 or 7 hours of sleep. If you had 8 hours, it felt like you had like 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and so on and so forth. So it seems to allow you to have really good sleep, and let you, it allows you to get into the type of sleep that everybody or that people are saying that is the good type of sleep, and more restful sleep is the REM type of sleep. So and then there's people that said that they've had dreams more often. They're able to remember dreams more often, things of that nature, And that's what I wanted to talk about, because I took the stuff, and now I woke up. I did wake up a couple of times during the night, but one time I woke up in the middle of the night because I set the alarm to wake me up, because I was checking to see if I had a load ready. But the other times that I did wake up, I woke up. I don't know if it was because the dream was kind of intense, or if it was just because I was just doing one of those cycles of dipping in and out of consciousness. But I had many different dreams, but there was 2 dreams that I seem to remember quite vividly, and it's not the completeness of the dream, but there's certain things that I did remember, quite vividly about the dreams. But so the first dream that I remember is not very much, at least in the way of explaining, but it was rather, well, both of these type of dreams, I'd never dreamt things like this before, which is really interesting. And this is only the first night that I took it. So the first dream that I had, the place that I remember the dream was that where it was kind of like, it was weird. It was like I was about ready to go on to a ride. Just imagine going on to a ride, like let's say this type of ride was like you're on like this. Okay, so best way I can explain it, the miners, they had these buckets that was on rails, right? And it was small like that, on a small narrow track, sort of like that. But it was one of those miners buckets that they use to transport whatever they're mining out of the earth. So it was, and I think I was with one other person. But anyways, meanness of the person was inside this bucket, and the scenery, it was kind of like I was going through going through some of the desert areas in like Utah, things like that. Yeah, more of like going through some of the desert areas in Utah, because some of the landscape that I was seeing was kind of more of like looking at the landscape of Utah, or maybe the Grand Canyon area of Arizona. And so we're in this bucket, and this track is leading out in front, and the track is going under one of these, rock arches. Now, like you think about Moab, Utah, and some of these places out there, even down in the Grand Canyon area. You got some of these rock formations where where it makes this little arch, this type of thing, right? And so the track was going right up under that. It was kind of like going through an amusement park type of thing, So we're in this thing, and it starts to move and go right on up under this rock arch formation. And this was kind of like in the evening portion of the time, where because I'm looking at the sky, and I'm seeing all these colors, these reds and orange and yellows in the sky as the sun is going down, and it was really cool. So we're going down the track, and all I can remember is that I'm looking at the landscape, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I'm seeing all the beauty of the landscape, and we're going up and down hills, and we're seeing all these different rock formations and things like that. And just before that dream disappeared, or when I had just before the part where I get to where I don't remember anything else about the dream, it was all of a sudden I had this knowledge of like, this is your body. I'm like, my body? Like, yeah. I was like, well, because I was making comments of like how how beautifully made it was, and just the detail. I can't really explain it really. I don't have really too much words for it, except that the best I can explain it was that if you look at some of these rock formations in the desert, in the areas that I was telling you about. I mean, the rock formations, they were just beautiful, and the sand was there was all different color types of sand. It was like a pink sand, red. There were some spots of brown in there, but I mean, it all messed. Even the white limestone. There was some white limestone, like the layers and stuff like that. You can see layers in the rock formations and stuff like that. And so all of a sudden I just started thinking, like, this is, I was actually exploring my body, and I don't understand what the desert and the rock formations and things like that actually represented in the dream, but I guess it had to do something with the body. And I was just whoever I was talking with, I was just saying, this is amazing, the way that the way that I saw the rock formations, and how I enjoyed the different colors, and looking at the sky and seeing the sky with the different colors of the sunsets and stuff like that. So that's the basic description of the dream. Just going through that landscape in this bucket, that kind of thing. But the other dream that I had, which is like way more intense. I would say it was more of an action dream. It was like action packed. It had a lot of action in there. And this dream, it started out. Now, I was an observer in the dream. It wasn't so much of me personally. You know, me being in the first person in the dream. I was more of like a third person in the dream. I was just more of an observer, and I was observing a family, and there was a family. There was a father, there was a mother, and I think there was a couple children there, and it was a family, and the father was reading stories to the family. I'll just say he was reading some Bible stories out to his family, and these were ancient people. You know, just because of the way they looked, I associated them with ancient people. And I'm looking around in the room, and the room itself was made out of earth. You know, everything from the ground, the walls. You know, it had a window area, like a large window area in the front of the room. You know, giving you access to the landscape out front. So it was just pretty much just a hole cut out of the rock, showing the outside of the showing what's on the outside. So it was, I don't remember what Bible story that the family was together enjoying, but they were sitting together watching a Bible story, or reading a Bible story. And all of a sudden, in the middle of this, somebody from outside was ringing the alarm. It was pretty much a call. The person was calling that to gather all the men because the village was under attack. There was an enemy that was coming in, and they were preparing for battle on this village. So somebody made the call to gather all the men to defend this village. So I see the man getting up, and he's like, my gosh, he was like, it was like he was upset because he was getting interrupted with his family time. You know, he was upset about this. Like, right now, I mean, come on. So, but he knew he had to answer the call, and so I ended up following this person, this person down, and so as he's getting down there, he's starting to gather with the rest of the people. Now, it was weird though, because it went from prehistoric time, well, not prehistoric times, but these ancient times, and it started moving. It moved into a different era of time, and it moved from a different era in time, and also like a different geological system as well. So everything, it started out with everything was being earth. Earth buildings, and the ground is like like a desert type of area, right? And it started moving into like this jungle space. So all these people that came out of the village to protect it, they had moved into this jungle space, and they were different type of soldiers, and they actually had like these large cannon-like guns. You had a battalion with people that had rifles, like M16s and stuff like that, and they were all gathering up in this one little area, and it was like a jungle type of area, and I was elevated up above above everybody, just looking, and so as they're starting to pull into this area, they've changed. They all like have these jungle uniforms, and they got the cannons, and they got their M16 rifles. And I see this big green hedge that is right beside them. And then I see on the other side of the hedge, it's also a jungle area, but they're moving towards the village, which starts to transition into the prehistoric. I keep saying prehistoric. The ancient, into the ancient times. So it's going from the green, big overbrush and stuff like that to just getting into like dust and dirt. So just think of it, just a line, pretty much like that, separating the two ecological systems. and then right separating that area, the field of vision that I had, separating that, it was a big hedge, and on one side it had the villagers that came and turned into these more modern soldiers, and then you had on the other side you had the enemy, which is they look more like Asian, like one of the Asian cultures. I don't know. I don't know which Asiatic country they came from, but they definitely came from Asia. And they were actually coming, and they were actually gathering themselves. They were gathering right there at the border because they were preparing to make an attack on this village. And at the same time, these people from the village was coming out of there, and they were going into the jungle area, tucked behind that hedge there. But what I was noticing was that the Asian group there, they were kind of sitting there quietly, but they were gathering and building up their forces. The people on the other side, they're sitting out there, they're gathering themselves, but they're out there firing off the cannons, shooting off their rifles and things like that, right? And there's this one person, which I assume was that ancient father that was in there with his family. He had also transformed into one of those soldiers, but he was like the only one that was alone. And apparently he can see the same thing that I was seeing, because he can see over the top of the hedge there, and he can see that the people are building right up there next to them. And these villagers, they're shooting off their cannons and their rifles and stuff like that, I guess for like practice or whatever. But they were like right there next to the enemy. And this one person was like, "Hey, stop firing your gun. Stop doing it. Stop wasting your ammunition. Stop doing this, because the enemy is right there." And he's trying to tell them that the enemy forces are right there on the other side of that hedge, and that you need to stop wasting your ammunition. Stop firing. Stop trying to practice and fire and stuff like that. Get ready, because these people are gathering up. And the people he was talking to was saying, "Hey," they were saying, "Shut up, be quiet, hush. You're going to reveal our position, our location to the enemy," which doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're right there. You over there sitting there firing off cannons and shooting off your rifles. That alone should be giving off, giving out your position, right? But from my observations, they weren't really concerned about the noise that was being made. I don't know if they didn't hear it or what, but they didn't know anything. I guess they didn't know anything about it. But because that one man was yelling at his forces, saying, stop the shooting, stop wasting your ammunition, the enemy saw, so he got the attention of the enemy forces, and they started seeing him, and they noticed that he was their enemy, the Asian people, and noticed that this one person that they were going to go fight against was a member of the people they were going to go fight against. They started taking notice of this guy, and they noticed that he's screaming, "Hey, stop! Stop this! Stop that!" So you got his people saying, "Hey, be quiet! You're going to give away our location." And you got the enemy on the other side. They're noticing him, and they're saying, "Hey, that's one of them. Let's get rid of him." So once the enemy notices this guy, I know it's taking a long time. Once the enemy notices this guy, they start firing on him, and they're shooting all their rifles and stuff at him, and you would think, okay, it's a done deal. You got thousands of people firing rounds at you. You're pretty much going to be Swiss cheese, right? Well, this didn't happen for this individual. The enemy people, they weren't paying attention to the people that they were going to fight with, per se. The people that they were going to go fight against, they didn't pay attention to them. They didn't pay attention to them sitting there right next to them. They were focused on that one person, and they saw him, and they tried to kill him by shooting their weapons at him. And what he ended up doing was like he started hopping around like it was crazy. It was superhuman strength, where he was hopping around the landscape, and they was firing at him. So he's got the barrage of bullets coming at him, and as he's jumping in the air, he's contorting his body in certain different ways like this, and so bullets just passing right by him. He's just doing all that, and he never got hit. And I mean, there was thousands and thousands of people that was firing at him, and he's making these huge jumps, and he's clearing large distances of ground, and these bullets are flying, zoom, 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 zoom. He's just missing him, and then all of a sudden, it turned into what seemed to be like a documentary, where there was a map of the United States, and there was this. It seemed like he was I don't know. He was a commander of some sort. I think he might have been a Navy commander or an Army commander. I think he was like a Navy commander from like the early, like from the 50s and 40s, But he was discussing about a super ship. I'm thinking he must have been some kind of commander or admiral for the Navy, but it was some kind of super ship where this ship was being developed. In the United States, like on the Ohio River area. Well, they were wanting to build this ship, which I don't know. You'll understand, or you'll understand where I'm going with this later. But the ship that they were talking about building was a kind of ship that was going to sit so far down into the water. Now, why they wanted to build this and float this thing off in the Ohio River, I have no idea. But they were making plans of dredging the Ohio River to make it deeper, so that they could have this super ship, travel the Ohio River. Which I don't understand why you'd want to have a ship like this. I didn't get the details of this type of ship, except that it was going to be sitting, pretty low into the water. So it needed bottom clearance to actually go anywhere. But I don't understand why they didn't build this thing out here on the coast or deep out in the ocean, because it was a type of ship where, like I said, it needed a lot of bottom clearance. But the commander was kind of explaining that they were in the process of building this ship, and they were making plans to dredge out the Ohio River, and Um, but the reason why that they had to stop these plans was because of this enemy attack. These this Asian group of enemy attack was happening somewhere in that area right there, close to the Ohio River, and he was explaining that had this stuff already been done, completed, the ship completed, and the Ohio River was already dredged out. He said that they could have used this ship in that war to destroy that enemy that was in that area, trying to destroy certain areas. So I know it might not make any sense, but I'm explaining to you exactly the way that it came out to me. First it starts out with these ancient people, and it goes into the jungles, and then it's going right into then it's located there on the Ohio River, and I'm like, what the heck? So that popped up, and then it goes right back to this dude, this one guy that's being shot at, and he's dodging bullets left and right, and he gets to the ground, and he gets into the prone position, and he sees other enemy soldiers walking across this open field. It's heavily grassed, things like that. And I mean, he was so skilled at knocking these people off. I mean, he sees them walking across the field, and there was a whole bunch of them, and it was like flanking. And he took his rifle, and I mean, one shot kill for everyone, just do, and you see these people just dropping, boom, 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 boom. I mean, he was like some kind of super soldier, right? And he took out a lot of these enemy folk, right? And he's just laying there, just picking people off. And he'd never run out of ammunition, and he was just laying these people out. But he ended up getting up, and he started doing the hopping and dodging the bullets and stuff like that. But I guess his luck ran out, because he ended up getting shot. Although I didn't see I didn't see any indication that he was shot. But as he was doing this hyper jumping and stuff like that, it then changed to where I was. It then changed to where I was on the internet. I was doing some sort of internet search, and it turns out that I was I don't know, reading about this person, right? And he just looked, and I'm looking at at his picture on the internet, and it was just some random dude. It's like he looked like somebody in modern times, just some regular dude, some black dude, like young black dude. But it turned out that I was like reading about this guy, right? And so I guess apparently everything that I was reading about him on this website, I guess I was internalizing it in my mind or something like that. I don't know. It was weird. It's something that I ain't never experienced before, and yeah, I mean, I'm like, this is crazy. This is like super weird, And so when I looked up the information on this stuff, and they were talking about, you have dreams and stuff, I ended up seeing something else. Some other comments were like, there have been people that's been having some weird, intense dreams about this product, And so really, I'm going to try it out some more. I didn't get it for, I didn't get it for, to see, the type of crazy dreams that I can get from it. I didn't get it for no testosterone boost. Although there was quite a few different mentions of that about it can help with testosterone boost and stuff like that. I didn't get it for none of those things. I don't have any like autoimmune disease problems and stuff like that. But some of the things like with the sinus problems and want to prevent from try to prevent getting cancer and stuff like that, and some other stuff. Even with the mental portion, I sometimes I feel like I suffer from like a mental fog and stuff like that, and so zinc, from what I'm told, is good with helping with lessening the mental fog and stuff like that. So those are some of the reasons why I'm taking it. What attracted me was because it had zinc and magnesium together, and when I was looking at vitamins and minerals and what you should have and stuff like that, I've seen several mentions of the camaraderie that zinc and magnesium have together. So when I saw this product, it said zinc and magnesium together, I was like, oh, okay, hey, yeah, I'll try this. See what this is all about. So I'm trying it, and the results that I had for the first night was that, okay, so I had these weird ass dreams, So that's one of the things that I noticed. The other things that I noticed that I'm up, okay, and I feel refreshed. I don't. It's different from the other times that I've woken up. It's rare that I've actually felt this way that I do. From waking up and sleeping. I don't wake up where I'm like super super groggy, in the morning. But lately, I've had issues where my alarm goes off and I wake up and I feel sluggish and tired. Like I don't want to get up, So I'll either go back to sleep and try to sleep some more, or whatever. But I notice that if I actually do force myself to get up, then I start to feel a little better and good to go. Well, in this instance, I got up, I woke up, and I didn't feel that need to want to stay in bed, like I still feel kind of tired, I actually got up rather quickly. I was like, I feel pretty good. I feel really, really rested, and I don't have too much of a problem with the with my sinuses, where where it's clogged up a lot, and now I'll say this, that I'm also taking a medicine for my nose too, to open up my nasal passages, and it kind of works, but this is on a whole different level where I'm really really breathing in pretty well, although I do need to blow my nose because I can feel that there's crap clogged up in there. So, but the other thing that I'm feeling right now is I'm feeling a really cool sensation. Where I'm feeling it at is I'm feeling it mostly in the back area, in the upper back area, by the shoulder blades and on the back side of my arms, and on occasion in the sinus area and down into the lungs. So it's like this, and even in the head, it's like having AC. It's like the feeling of having AC. When you turn the AC on in the building, you get that cool feeling on the outside of you. I'm feeling that on the inside, and I don't know. It's weird to explain. It's my vision. I'm noticing that I'm not feeling a bunch of tension in the muscles of my eyes, which I've noticed that I would have this kind of tension in my eyes where it does mess with my vision sometimes, to where the vision, sometimes I have a hard time focusing on things in front of me. It's not that I have bad eyesight, it's just that I notice that the tension in the eyes, in the back of the eyes, or with the muscles and stuff like that, it causes problems with me being able to see sometimes. And I'll notice that I'll have, like, my eyes will be leaking a little bit, things like that. Well, I'm not feeling that. I'm actually feeling a cool sensation around the eyes. I feel looseness around the eyes, and it's not, it feels good. So I'm assuming that this stuff is, like, really working for me. So now I only took it one night. I'm gonna try it again. And I'm gonna actually take the whole bottle over time and see what changes that I notice. So this is the stuff that I took. It's ZMA, and pretty much all that they claim that it is. It's zinc, magnesium, and B6. And that's what it is. And it's a supplement. It's a vitamin and mineral supplement. And I got this at Walmart. I think I got it for like $15. I think so, something like that. But this is what I'm taking, and I feel pretty good. And this is the first time taking it, first night taking it. So I'm gonna check it out, and I'll update you on the effects of it. See, and you see for yourself on what what you think of it. But first and foremost, talk to your doctor. See if you have any problems where you might need zinc, magnesium, and stuff like that. Talk to your doctor. If you think you have these problems that I mentioned, or anything else that could be associated with deficiencies like that, talk to your doctor. See what they recommend that you do. Okay. If you don't like what they're giving you, maybe try a different doctor. If you still don't like what they're saying, then by all means, do what you feel that you think you need to do. It's your body, so if you think that you're not getting the help that you are seeking through the doctors, then you try and find some other way to get your help. But that was it, and it actually took longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be like less than a half an hour, but because of my long-winded self here, it seems like it went a little further. But anyways, check in for other videos, and I'll keep posting videos as I think about them. I'll share them with you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.